Alright, so I got a bunch of new gear here from FREEWELL. This is, basically mainly for this case here, which is for the Samsung S25 Ultra, which is what I've got here. I've upgraded my phone a while ago when the phone came out and didn't bother making any videos because everyone made videos on this phone already. But I primarily use cell phones for my content creation for this channel. And I heard that FREEWELL was making this case, which you can then attach a whole bunch of accessories. I only got a very small sample of their ecosystem that will work with this case, and if you're interested in like other kinds of filters and lenses and stuff like that, they have a wide variety of lenses that will work with this case, and I'll talk a little bit about that in this video, but I obviously can't show you everything. They'd send me quite a bit, and I do thank FREEWELL for sending me the stuff that I asked for, because there's a lot of stuff that, like the anamorphic filters, I personally don't use for my content creation. But if you want to take your mobile film making content creation with your cell phone to the next level, FREEWELL has, I think, some of the best gear out there, and obviously we'll talk about that here. Now for the S25 Ultra, with this gear, with the ND filters that I'm going to show you, I think at this point it can kind of replace my main camera that I use for B-roll, which is the Sony a7S3, which is, it's pretty heavy and pretty big, and I tend to not use that camera if I have a lot of other stuff to carry around and just use my cell phone for most situations. But now with this extra gear, I kind of don't need that camera anymore for a lot of situations, because S25 Ultra and the S25 whole series can now produce video in 10-bit HDR with a flat color profile. So, and then you can then of course add their LUT for the color grading, and so that gives a very professional video look, very comparable to cameras like the A7S3. It has like the main sensor, the 1X camera, is a 200 megapixel sensor, so it's got a lot of detail. And the main drawback of using a smartphone is that you don't have the ability to use ND filters, which is what this whole video is about, to sort of fix that problem. So you get actual video that doesn't look like it's coming from an action camera, but more like a film camera, because you can then reduce that shutter speed with the ND filter and get actual motion blur, and the video is now going to look very comparable to a larger camera, because again now we have the 10-bit HDR with the flat color profile, so you do a lot of manipulation to the video, and it's a very high bitrate video. Anyway, so lots of reviews already on the S25 Ultra. Just really quickly, you got a 1X main camera here, which is a 200 megapixel sensor. You have a 5X telephoto camera, which is a 50 megapixel sensor, and then you have a ultra wide over here for it's also 50 megapixels. I believe one of these here is a 3X camera, and one is a laser autofocus sensor, and they got the flash. So in order to get these ND filters on here, you need a special case. Obviously, they won't attach to the camera by itself, and that's what FREEWELL has created here. And it's a pretty nice case. Carbon fiber texture, some sort of polycarbonate here. This part here is metal and magnetic for holding the ND filters. And then the main camera and the telephoto camera has a 17 millimeter thread there for their lens attachments. And of course, the phone just kind of just goes in here. There is a ring here. This is a MagSafe magnet. And so if you have your MagSafe attachments, for example, this is one for holding onto like a neck mount. It will just magnetically hold the camera. It's a very strong magnet. So this is another reason why I like this case, because I actually have had another case like this that has a similar MagSafe ring there, but of course I can't attach the ND filters. And you can see here that it does protrude a bit, but it should protect the lenses. And then you have your buttons here for volume and power, and your holder for the stylus. So it should just go in pretty easily. Let's go ahead and we'll just stick this in here. And this, I guess the lip here is flexible, so you can manipulate it. Obviously the back is pretty stiff to maintain that shape. So it should just go in like so. Probably better to put the camera lenses in first like this, and then you can snap in the bottom. Just stretches out and goes in like that. Pretty nice fit. Yeah, looks pretty good. You have the speaker grill there for the phone exposed there at the top. Got your USB-C port, your speaker port here on the bottom, and then the stylus opening there for that side. Nothing on this side here. And you got your, I think these are microphone holes for the top. Yeah, overall pretty nice. And then let's go ahead and we'll take out the ND filter. So I already took it out of the box. Comes in this nice case here, and I think in here is just some documentation. Yeah, it's your standard stuff that it comes with their ND filters. So I'm already assuming that you guys know about how ND filters work. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but they do have like the basics here. If you go to this little QR code, talks about ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and then the main reason why we're using ND filters for these for smartphones is because the apertures are fixed. So if you try and reduce your ISO and shutter speed, basically the image gets really bright. I'll demonstrate that here a little bit later, and that's what the ND filter is for. Is basically sunglasses for your camera, and then that will basically give you the proper exposure. But they have videos and stuff on how ND filters work, and that's this little QR card here. You got some stickers and then a cleaning cloth, and again, these are how to use the filters, which I'm going to actually show in this video. By the way, well, this is we're covering the S25 Ultra. This case and this ecosystem has been out for a while now, so I'm not sure when it started, but I do know for a fact that they have the S23 Ultra and the S24 Ultra cases available on Amazon, and I don't know if these are available for the regular S25 and the S25 Plus series. I'm not 100% sure on that. I did look around, I couldn't find it. It's possible they exist, but I'm not 100% sure, so you probably should ask FREEWELL directly about that. I know for sure that the S23 Ultra and S24 Ultra is definitely included for the cases, and then I believe these lenses will fit those older cases as well. So, because these lenses have the ND filters have been out for a while, so let's go ahead and get these out. And very nice here. These are very robust lenses or filters, and they have these little pouches here. These are quite heavy. So we have ND4, ND8, ND16, ND32. I'm sorry, ND8, 16, 32, and 64. So I guess I have these upside down. Like this. So let's go ahead and pull one of these out. And this is metal. All of FREEWELL's ND filters are very high quality glass, and they won't have, weird things where the white balance will start shifting and stuff like that, weird tints. So if you're worried about the quality of FREEWELL ND filters, I've used a lot of their products in previous videos, and they have all worked really well. So you can see it just easily fits on like this, and yeah, it's a very strong magnet. It just pops on like that. Not going to come off at all. Probably not safe to grab the ND filter, although it is holding the weight of the phone. The phone's pretty heavy, so it's a pretty strong magnet, but probably not safe to, actually a really strong magnet. Yeah, just take some force to get it off. But yeah, I suppose probably not safe to grab it by the ND filter, but it looks like it does hold the phone. But of course, you want to grab the phone like this. But if you're worried about the filter falling off, I don't think you're going to have any problems with that, unless you, of course, don't attach it correctly. If you just kind of like that, if you attach it improperly, where it's kind of at an angle, obviously then, yeah, improper use, and then of course you're going to have perhaps issues of it falling off, and there you go. You gotta wait for it to click in, and you see you have a nice solid fit there. So we'll look at the rest of those later. Basically the other filters are darker for brighter days, and let's go look at the rest of the stuff here. So this is, they're calling this the versatile Bluetooth selfie grip, and this will basically attach to your phone, and then you can use this as a Bluetooth shutter, and this will actually rotate down like this, and then you can use it as a selfie stick. So to stretch out, and then you can put the phone in this, and I guess use the back cameras to film yourself. That's why I'm calling this a selfie grip. And then of course you have this is an Arca Swiss mount here, as well as some tripod mounts here on the bottom, and you have a cold shoe here and some more tripod mounts here on top. And then this little Bluetooth shutter thing just pop out like so. So you can just hold it and use it remotely as a remote. And there's an on-off switch there. There's a little pull tab here for the little coin battery. And I believe it comes with spares. I think I saw some spares. Yeah, so here's some of the extra stuff. You got a little manual about the grip, and then this is just stickers and a cleaning cloth. And I think the extra batteries are in here. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, so this is the extra stuff that comes in here, and you get 2 extra batteries, and these are CR1620 sized. You also get this little lanyard hook that screws into one of the tripod holes, and then this is just a wrist strap there. So I guess you just kind of, I guess you can screw this into this one here, over here, and then use it as a secure thing to secure it to your wrist, so that if you drop it, then it won't go to the ground. So that's what this is for. So it looks like it just screws in. Yeah, pretty simple. It screws into the standard. It's like a 1/4-20 thread. All right, go ahead and just show you how a little demo how this is used. Basically, it uses a spring there to hold it in place, and probably, I guess if you want to use it as a grip to hold the camera or hold the phone, probably want to slide it down a little bit, like down towards this side here. Okay, so I have it sort of like this, and then you can use, you can actually use this grip to hold the phone, but it's probably best to have it a little bit further down. Kind of adjust it to your hand size. That way you can hold it like this while you're filming. Obviously your lenses are over here, and you can do it like that. And then I believe you can also use this, I think I said you can use it as a phone stand, so something like that. And then obviously the selfie function, you're going to hold it like this, and then you're going to use the main cameras there to film yourself as basically that's what I'm calling this, a selfie stick. Okay, so they did send along this calling it a vlog pod. Basically, it's a pretty fancy tripod, but it's a smaller tripod. So at this size here, you can see not that big, but it's good for on-the-go shooting, which is what I basically do. And you have basically, it's nothing too fancy here. So it's got a little standard ball mount here on top. You can adjust your angles, and then this top part here can also pop off like so. And it does have another tripod mount here, so I could screw in this to the selfie stick here like this, and then use that to mount the phone, or you can use the built-in mount here as well. So this will pop off like this, and then as you can see, you can stick a phone in there as well to hold that. So it has a phone mount built into the top of the tripod. But for the most part, you're going to probably use it like this with that 1/4-20 thread there, and mount something to this, and then you can adjust your angle as such. And then these 3 legs pop open like so, and then they also can bend, so you can do that, or you can wrap it around something. It's not that flexible. It's actually pretty stiff, so I guess that's a good thing, and could present some issues if you want to bend more than, for example, like I bent it sideways there, but you can go like that. So you kind of shape it to the way you want, and obviously it's got a nice rubber grip here to hold it, so it's nice and secure. And then the feet are also pretty grippy as well. Then you have these again, threaded holes on the side here for putting in attachments and stuff like that, lights or microphones, etc. So this is going to be pretty nice for this filming setup. And then this is one of the lenses I did request them to send, is the 6x telephoto lens. So they have a 1.7x telephoto lens. They have some wide angle lenses, anamorphic lenses, wide variety of lenses. Actually, in fact, I'm not even aware of the complete ecosystem. They have a ton of stuff, and they've been adding to their ecosystem over time. But this is what it looks like. Obviously, this attaches to the 17 millimeter thread here and the case, and it's going to be here. So you take the little cap off, that's the 17 millimeter thread, and it's actually denoted right there. And then the other cap shows you the lens. And it does have a manual focus adjustment on the outside. It does include this nice little carrying case. Get some stickers and cleaning cloth, and you get this adapter ring here. It's also metal, 43 millimeter threaded adapter. This goes on the outside like that, just kind of pops on. And then if you want to do an ND filter for this lens, you can stick it on here using this 43 millimeter threaded adapter. So basically these threaded lenses and their ecosystem will work for the 5x lens and the 1x lens, but it does not work for the ultra wide lens. The threads are only on these two, and you're probably going to mainly use it on the 1x lens. So we'll demonstrate this here in a moment, but it just kind of goes on pretty easy, like so. And so this will be a 6x versus the standard 5x, but you'll get the 6x on the 200 megapixel sensor. So if you really want to go crazy, you can put the 6x lens on the 5x lens and get a total of 30x, but keep in mind that's on a 50 megapixel sensor versus the main 1x camera is a 200 megapixel sensor. So a little bit lost in quality, but we'll demonstrate that as well. But see, just to show you that this will thread in here as well. And it's very solid, so that works pretty well. Alright, so we're going to do a quick demo here of the ND filters. Right now it's in auto mode with no ND filter on, so I just want to show you the baseline. And I just wanted to show some moving objects like these cars going by. A little bit loud. And I'll go ahead and enable the log recording here. So this is with all automatic settings and no ND filter. And just for reference, here's my hand. And you can see some cars moving by. There's probably not much motion blur. So now I will go into Pro Video mode. And let's set our exposure. We want to have 4K 30, and ISO is at 50, it's the lowest, and 1/60 for the shutter speed. And we have a locked white balance here, and we're still on autofocus. Now you can see here we're very much overexposed, so we'll go ahead and put on the ND filter here. Alright, so I'm going to try an ND16 first. Alright, so how does that look? So there's the histogram right there. Slightly overexposed, you can see. Let me go ahead and turn on the log flat color profile. And that does seem to balance out the exposure a little bit. So let's go ahead and record some footage here. And for reference, here's my hand again. You should see some motion blur there. And I can already tell there's definitely more motion blur as those cars go by. Alright, so let's go and stop this. I'm going to put an ND32 on now. And looking at the histogram, looks about the same. Again, here's my hand for reference. You can freeze this and we'll see what that motion blur looks like. I think this is going to be optimal. It looks like it's right in the middle. So go ahead and hit record here. Again, here's my hand for reference. Let's go ahead and wait for a car to go by and we'll see what that motion blur looks like. All right, here comes some cars. Definitely more motion blur for sure. Alright, so I'm going to try an ND64. And you see the histogram is definitely on the lower side. It's not underexposed. And let's go ahead and hit record. See those cars going by. Here's my hand for reference on the motion blur there. Let's see what these cars look like. So you can see how the 16, the 32, and the 64 looks on the motion blur. It's a totally bright sunny day right now, so probably I would go with 32 or 64. It looks like that's optimal in terms of the proper exposure. So it's kind of up to you. Alright, so this is a test of the 1x lens, and we'll put the 6x telephoto lens on here in a moment, but I wanted to, focus on that mural that's on the side of the building over there, that little blimp with the people, the robot, or whatever that's on the side there. And let's go ahead and I'll switch over to the 5x camera that is on here so you can see the detail. And this is what you're going to see when you kind of zoom in on that mural. So we're on the 5x lens, and try and pay attention to the amount of detail that you see there. And then there's a little tree in the foreground. Let's see if we change the focus there. Yeah, not much difference. We'll focus over here to the left and then to the background. So everything is kind of in focus overall, but I think we're going to see more bokeh with the 6x telephoto lens. So let's go ahead and pop that on. Obviously the 6x telephoto lens will be on the main camera, the 1x lens. Alright, I got the 6x telephoto lens on the main 1x lens, and I'm adjusting the manual focus on the 6x telephoto lens here. You can see it's kind of coming in and out, and noticing that there's a lot more shake, even though on the 5x lens it didn't seem to be that much shake. I don't have stabilization turned on, just because it just looks kind of weird. But you can kind of see that the focus from the foreground on those trees there in the front is a little bit, well, it looks like the trees in the front are more in focus right now, and then the background mural is a little bit out of focus. So if I can get the camera to, I'm actually tapping on the screen and trying to get the background to come into focus, and you can see a little bit more bokeh. Obviously we're a little bit more zoomed in because we're 6x here instead of 5x, but trying to get the camera to focus over there. And I'm seeing slight amounts of chromatic aberration in some of the details on the top of the building there. And then maybe over here on the left, I'm on a tripod, I'm trying to hold this nice and steady. Some of those details here on the left of the mural looks a little bit blurry. Let me see if I can adjust the focus again. So it does require, it's a little bit tricky to use this, but you are getting a a higher resolution image at 200 megapixels. So it might be worth the work if you are into that kind of detail. But then if I try and change the focus to this foreground tree, let's tap on that. It's over here. You can see that that comes into focus, and then the mural is slightly out of focus. So there's a little bit more depth of field using this telephoto lens versus the 5x lens that's built into the camera, where everything is kind of in focus. So something to keep in mind. Alright, so I'm going to do a demo here of the 6x telephoto lens on the S25's 5x lens. So a total of 30x. Right now I'm on the 1x lens, just to give you sort of a frame of reference to what I'm looking. Just looking in my neighborhood just down the street, and there's a gate all the way at the very end that you can't barely see here. I'll go ahead and switch it to the 5x lens here. See if I can't line this up. I have this on a tripod. And you can see the gate right there, some cars, and that's pretty hard to line up. And then let's go ahead and I'm going to try. So this is optically zoomed into 5x on the optical lens, but I'm going to try and simulate 30x on this lens, and you'll get an idea what this looks like. All right, so this is 20x with 5x optical zoom to 20x digital zoom. This is the max that it's letting me zoom in on. You can see the digital zoom has quite a bit of distortion. See that car coming in right there. And I am going to put this back onto 5x, and we'll stick the telephoto lens on. All right, so I'm going to try and get this to focus. This is 30x. So it's even more zoomed in, but it's optically zoomed. And getting this to focus is kind of tricky. Alright, so getting this to focus is quite tricky at this distance, but just to give you an idea, this is about the quality you should expect with the 6x telephoto lens on the 5x lens. And you can compare that to the digitally zoomed. And let me know what you guys think. This car is right in the way here. Anyway, this should give you an idea of what the 5x lens with the 6x telephoto lens on it should look like. Not the best quality compared to the digital zoom, but a little bit better. It's just very tricky to get this to focus. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Talk to you guys in the next one.